As I mentioned in the last episode, war takes away durability, and the Guild Forge had its problems when the war had ended. People didn't want to work. Their armor and their weapons and tools had no durability. I immediately began construction on the nether portal you see before you. This portal will provide us with plenty of gold and XP, also known as a gold farm. This farm is very OP in Bedrock, and I recommend you have it in your world. Anyways, something important that the Guildforge realized was that now that the countries around it had been founded, it itself would need to rise. And here's a little side story. As I mentioned earlier, Tengu had came back from the war. Now, this is crucial because we didn't know whether he was going to be our enemy or our friend, but we wanted him to be our friend. So we immediately called him and said, hey, listen, war is war, the past is the past. Let's form an alliance now, and we'll finally get the world peace everybody's been looking for. Eventually, me and Tengu had some terms for each other on what we were actually going to do. We wanted to stay far apart from each other, but it ended up being Tengu just straight up lives in the Guildforge. He accepted the proposition, and world peace had finally been achieved. The Guildforge was going to hold a feast, and this feast would be huge. However, the Guildforge itself would need to rise before it's even capable of holding such a feast. The first thing I decided to do was make the Guildforge officially mine. I wanted to be the builder of the country. I didn't want Woody or Duelist or anyone else to be the builder. I wanted it to be purely my country. So I laid down the blueprints and I started working. I finished the farm tower as you can see, and I began construction on the most powerful gold farm in the entirety of Season 3. I built a graveyard for every single pet that had been killed when Mido blew up the Guildforge. I rebuilt the horse coliseum and repopulated the horses. I would even begin construction on a massive village with a massive storage unit, a workhouse, and 2 8-story tall buildings that are meant for the villagers. The building was so sophisticated that even when a villager would fall, it would not take fall damage. I designed it specifically so villagers were incapable of taking damage. I then finished off the portal, and then I built the Guildforge storage. The Guildforge was officially on the rise itself, and I was pretty proud of where it was going. At around the time where the Guildforge was on its rise, it had been a couple of months, and, well, world peace had been achieved. It's the first time ever an empire has achieved world peace without aggression or fighting in the Gale SMP. It was a proud moment for the empire when we formed the final alliance with Tengu, and we wanted to celebrate. Of course, the Guildforge had no place to do such a celebration, so Olympia decided to step in for this celebration. One more important thing to mention, and I was going to give this its own chapter, but I realized it wasn't necessarily worth it. Evoker's country had slowly depleted, its members taken by Olympia, and since Olympia was on its own rise, it started to take the better members, like Duelist. However, before Duelist joined Olympia, he had an assassination team kill Evoker. Evoker was killed, and Evoker was, taken into Olympia. But Duelist presumed control of the country, renaming it to Duelist's country. The country never got a formal name. However, the country sucked. And I mean sucked. It was really bad. So it just folded. Eventually, all the members of the empire destroyed the country, and in demolition, the resources were spread out amongst the 3 countries, and everyone joined Olympia. Hence why Olympia became so powerful so quickly. It was very sad, tragedy what happened to the country, especially after its major win, but things happen. Anyways, on to the present. So the feast was about to begin, but some members were getting a little worried. You see, Olympia is a very cramped space, so people were like, uh-oh, we're about to get betrayed and we're all about to die. PTSD started kicking in from, well...
Action move! Hit him once, Session, go back, I'll take out Tengu. Grab him, boy!
However, I didn't plan such a thing, but I did have Solid by my side just in case such a thing was going to happen. And so, the legendary Feast of the Empire began.
Now, thank you, Woody, for hosting this feast. I'm actually very happy that you did this for us because we would have been outside in the middle of the rain and that would have sucked. But instead, we have the safety, I guess, of the monument, and I appreciate that. And Yeah, and it turned out to be really cool. I do heavily enjoy the build that you've done here for us today. This is a very nice turnout, and I'm very happy with the way things are going for you. And I really hope that your country in the future rises now that you have Dulles, Clover, Evoker, and of course yourself here. So obviously, recently, the Empire has risen far past than we could possibly imagine, right? Sure, the Guildforge isn't barely making any progress, but just look at the Guildforge, you know? It's in my opinion, one of the most beautiful countries so far in Season 3, even though it only has farms. Woody here is on the rise himself. His country is currently doing very well, and honestly guys, this is like one of the best speech areas I've had in a long time, so this is really cool. And anyone who wants to come up and say something, you know, go right ahead.
And I hope that with me and Scavell working together now in this beautiful country of his, we can make this place rise even stronger than it is now, because this place looks beautiful, I must say. You did a lot of work to do this, I must say. But that's all I have to say.
Alright, that's from Dulles.
He's given me emeralds and more riches than I could have got on my own. I just want to thank him and Gale for the support and everything you've been doing recently. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
So if that's it, I guess today we just celebrate the festivities of our empire and our slow but sure rise. We have finally done what no empire has done before. We have reached world peace. So, obviously there's not many people here right now, but it doesn't matter, because I don't care. So here's how this is gonna go. Recently, the Empire has had many problems. Of course, Dahana's coordinates might be leaked. The Veil is providing nothing to the Guildforge or Olympia or Jahina, and Olympia is kind of just being a side character in the Empire. The Guildforge right now is practically carrying the whole thing, and I'd like a fair share of resources transferred from place to place, the economy, trade to go up, of course. Of course, we can't reach this if everybody keeps stealing from my storage. I would like to clarify to every member of the Empire that that storage back there is not public. It's my storage, so stop stealing everything from it. I have no wood, no stone, no cobblestone, no potions. I've lost all my beds and all of my wool is gone. So keep stealing and everybody dies. I will literally restrict the nether portal from all of you. Now that one's out of the way. Slowly but surely we have more and more enemies. We had peace, we don't have it anymore. And it looks like it's gonna take us a while to get it back. Of course, Nacho is one of the most recent examples of the Empire having trouble to get members in and out. Anyways, there's one more thing I'd like to speak of, so you can just move to be in the middle here. There's one more thing I'd like to speak of that's actually very important to me. Traders. Traders is something that my brother, during the War of the Brothers, had in Lucania. It's the reason why Lucania has fallen so many times. The country members weren't loyal to their country. That's why it fell in the first place. Don't put your. That's why Lusitania fell so many times. In fact, it's fallen 3 individual times, and I think most of us here have bear witness to all of that occurring.
You making me spend all that time on Olympia? Please murder me. Good strat. Fair enough.
Get him! At the village, below twins. Coming in through the front. Coming to the forge. Hello, mate. Hella above. Oh!
There's no way you actually hit.
After the Empire had destroyed Gehenna, the members of Gehenna, being Solid and some others, decided to declare war against the Empire. Solid immediately got himself an army and hit the Guild Forge harder than it's ever been hit before. But the Guild Forge would not fall. The Guild Forge was hit 4 individual times, but every time the Guild Forge was hit, we stood up. We rebuilt the country every single time, defending it with all the resources it had left, but it wasn't enough. Over time, the Guild Forge was just hit too many times, and eventually we were forced to abandon the country. But we did not forget who our enemies were, and we will do anything to take them down. And so, that is the end of this episode. Stay tuned for episode 8.